Hello and welcome to Maths with Jay. In this video we're going to be looking at constructing the first few lines of Pascal's triangle. It gets its name from the French mathematician Blaise Pascal, who lived in the 17th century. But the triangle actually had been around for hundreds of years before even Pascal was alive. Anyway, let's have a look at the triangle. If you want to make one of these yourself, what you could do is get hold of some isometric paper and combine two of the triangles into a diamond shape in the sort of way that I've done here, although I've stretched it out so it doesn't quite look like equilateral triangles being added together here. Or you could maybe find some triangle dotty paper, which would have the same effect. Okay, so let's have a look at the way in which this triangle is constructed. We start off by simply writing the number 1 in the first cell at the top of the triangle. And then from now on, every other cell that we fill in is going to be done according to the same rule. And that is that each cell will contain the sum of the two numbers that are in the row above it to the immediate left and right. So when we come down to looking at the second row, looking at the first element to fill in, we've got a number 1 to the right of it, just above it, and nothing just to the left of it. So nothing plus 1 is 1. Similarly, for the next element of the second row, we're going to be adding 1 to nothing, so we get 1. And then, when we go onto the third row, we'll be adding 1 to nothing to get 1. And then, when we get to the second element of this row, we're adding 1 and 1 from the row above to get 2. And then the last element in this row will be adding 1 and nothing to get 1. On to the next row. And as you can see, the first element is going to be nothing plus 1 will be 1. Then we'll be adding 1 and 2 to get 3. Then 2 and 1 to get 3 again. And then 1 and nothing to get 1. So on to the next row. And I'm going to put in the 1s at both ends to start with. I think that you can see by now that every row is going to start and end with a 1. And then we'll add 1 and 3 together to get 4, 3 and 3 to get 6, and 3 and 1 to get 4. And you can probably see that not only are we getting 1s at both ends, but each row is symmetrical, isn't it? So we can put the 1s at the ends of the next row. And then we know that 1 and 4 will be the same as the sum of 4 and 1. So 1 plus 4 and 4 plus 1 are both 5. And 4 plus 6 and 6 plus 4 is 10. So we get our 10s in the middle of this row. And because we can see that we've got 1s at the start of each row and at the end of each row, let's just put all of them in to start with. And then if we look down the next diagonal on both sides, we can see that we're just getting the counting numbers. So let's put in the rest of those diagonals from 6 down to 15. So now we've got less work to do. We've completed the easy bits. Right, so next we're going to add together 5 plus 10. And then 10 plus 5, giving us 15 at both ends. And then adding together 10 and 10, we get 20. And then on the next row, so what we're going to do now is do a whole row at a time. I think you can see that 6 plus 15 is 21. 15 and 20 is 35. And then by symmetry at the other end, we'll have 35 and 21 again. Then we'll be adding 7 and 21. to give us 28. 21 and 35 will add up to 56. And double 35 in the middle to give us 70. And then, of course, repeating on the right-hand side as well. The next row, well, we'll get 8 plus 28 is 36. 28 plus 56 is 84. 56 plus 70 is 126. And then we'll repeat on the right-hand side. And then the next row, 9 plus 36 is 45. 36 plus 84 is 120. 84 plus 126 is 210. And doubling 126 will give us 252. On to the next row. 10 plus 45 is 55. 45 plus 120, 165. 120 plus 210 is 330. And 210 plus 252 is 462. On to the next line. 11 plus 55 is 66. 55 plus 165 is 220. 165 plus 330 is 495. 330 plus 462 is 792. And double 462 is 924. And the next line, 12 plus 66 is 78. 66 plus 220 is 286. 220 plus 495, well, the numbers are getting a bit bigger now, but we can simplify these by thinking of this. What I would do is say, well, 495 is just 5 away from 500. So let's think of that as being 500 and take 5 away from 220. So that makes that 215. So it's easier to add together 215 and 500 to get 715. And do the same sort of thing for 495 plus 792. So 495 is 5 away from 500. So if we take 5 away from 92, we'll get 87. So we're adding 500 and 787, which will be 1287, or 1287. And then 792 plus 924, well, 792 is 8 away from 800. So that's going to be 800 plus, now we need to take the 8 away from 924, so that's 916. So we're adding 800 and 916 to get 1716. Okay, so that's that row sorted. Next row, 13 plus 78 is 91. 78 plus 286 is 364. 286 plus 715. Oh, that's a nice one, isn't it? Because 86 plus 14 is 100, and 200 and 700 is 900, so that's 1001. And then 715 plus 1287, well, that's 2002. And 1287 plus 1716 is 3003. And then the middle one, well, doubling 1716 gives us 3432. And the last line that we're going to look at, adding 14 and 91 is 105. 91 plus 364 is 455. 364 add 1001 is 1365. And these are fairly easy to do now, aren't they? You certainly shouldn't need a calculator for these. 1001 plus 2002 will be 3003. 2002 plus 3003 is 5005. And 3003 plus 3432 is 6435. And we've reached the middle. So we're done. The triangle, in fact, goes on forever. But we're just looking at the first few lines of it. Now, you know I'm always going on about the fact that you should check your answers. Something like this, although it's really simple in that you're only adding together two numbers, it would be really easy to make an error quite early on and not realise you've done that, and to be going on doing the whole thing with one small error, creating bigger errors later on. So let's think about how we could check our answers here. Well, have you thought of adding together the total of each line and seeing if there's maybe some kind of pattern that we could see? So going right up to the top, well, the first line has obviously just got 1 in it. The second line, the second row has got 1 and 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. The next one, 1 plus 2 plus 1 is 4. The next one, when we add 1, 3, 3 and 1, we get 8. So the numbers we're getting are 1, 2, 4, 8. Can you see a pattern developing here? The next number will be 16. The one after that is 32. So in fact, hopefully you've noticed that the sum of each row is double the previous row. And if you think about it, that's happened because each number is contributing twice to the next row. It's being added in twice. Once it's the left-hand number and once it's the right-hand number. So that's logical why that should be happening. But that really gives us a way of checking our answers. If we add together the numbers in each row as we go along and make sure that they are following that pattern, then it's quite likely that we haven't made a mistake. So, having got our Pascal's triangle and deciding that we're happy that we haven't made any mistakes, the next thing to do is to start playing with it. What we could do is look for number patterns within the triangle itself. So one pattern that you might have noticed is the triangle numbers or the triangular numbers. Then you might like to look for the tetrahedral numbers. Once you've done that, hidden away are the Fibonacci numbers. So those are more difficult to spot. And what I thought you might like to do next is do some colouring in. How about colouring in all the even numbers in the triangle?